What is up, everyone? It is a very special previews and predictions for two reasons. One, because it is Cup Final edition. I don't know how many Cup Finals there are, 5? Maybe 6? And 2, because I have a very special guest. His name is, and I think you're gonna know, it's Stat.
No.
What? Wait.
No, I'm rebranding.
Rebranding?
I am not a loser. I am Stat Cool Guy now.
Stat. Is that real hair in your face? What is
No,
that?
it's dog hair.
Dog?
I found it on the street and I glued it to my face because beards are cool.
Why are you rebranding?
It's 2017, Jimmy. Everyone's dabbing and saying it's lit, fam, so I figured I have to take advantage of it and be a cool guy too so I can get Twitter followers. Right? You know what it takes.
Yeah, well, you need to, sometimes it helps to have that blue check mark.
How do I get one of those? Can I glue that to my face?
And the first game we're gonna be covering is the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal. Okay, Stat.
What's up, fam?
Cool guy?
Yes.
Well, two teams are playing in the FA Cup final. It's Chelsea, the Blues, who won the Premier League, so they're going for the double.
Yeah.
Right? And then Arsenal,
yeah,
who aren't going for anything other than one trophy. One significant trophy.
Yeah, it's almost like winning an FA Cup trophy will salvage their worst season in 21 years.
I think it could, potentially, because if you're Arsene Wenger and you win this, do you stay on as manager to say, listen, I can do better next year, or do you go out in a blaze of somewhat glory? Because I don't know if winning the FA Cup is as magical as it once was.
Both options are very depressing for Arsenal and their fans.
Yeah, I agree, but with Conte, right, he's had one season in the Premier League, and he won it. Arsene Wenger, 21 seasons, he's won it 3 times.
And did you know this? Did you know this, Jimmy? Chelsea have won the FA Cup 4 times before, and 3 of the times they won it, they had an Italian manager.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a cool
Ancelotti,
stat.
Di Matteo, Vialli, I still got it!
Wow. Cool stats from the Stat Cool Guy. What I think is interesting about this game in particular is that Chelsea, when they made the decision to switch to a 3-4-3, their whole season changed, and they ended up winning the league. And it seemed like Conte put a lot of the guys in position that were best for them.
Yeah, I mean, they had that one big loss against Arsenal, and they were
that was in September, though.
We can't do that again. That was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anytime you lose to Arsenal, it's embarrassing.
Not
kind
always.
of. Yeah, maybe, but yeah, a lot of the time. And then Arsenal made the switch to a 3-4-3 as well. It was the first time that Arsene Wenger had ever done that in his managerial career, and they played really, really well. They're on 5 straight wins right now. Chelsea's on 7 straight wins. So
they got good this season just when it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, which is kind of par for the course. What's interesting though about their back 3, potential back 3 in this game, is that Koscielny is out due to suspension, and then Gabriel and Mustafi are out to injuries. So do you want to put Per Mertesacker in the middle of a back 3 when he can barely turn and run?
He did score in Arsenal's last 2 FA Cup final wins, but he was also a little bit younger and a little bit less slow then.
I don't know. I want to say he's probably the same. I'm glad he exists because it makes me feel like I could still go out there and do it.
I think you could.
Maybe.
I think I could.
Well, he's taller than I am, so he has a bit of a physical presence, and he's a good leader. Not to say that I'm not, but I think he's a really good leader for the team. When you have an N'Golo Kanté versus Alexis Sanchez matchup, which is quite tantalizing, I just don't think Conte is going to let him out of his sights. And I think that's the key matchup that I ultimately believe that Conte is going to win.
I agree with all of that.
Good, I'm glad you're here. So score prediction, what do you think?
4-1 to Chelsea.
4-1?
I've changed.
You have changed.
I know.
That's rebranding.
No one likes I'll say 1-0.
I'm gonna say 3-1 to Chelsea. And next up is the Copa del Rey final between Barcelona and Alaves. For Alaves, this is their first time ever in the Copa del Rey final. It'd be the first trophy they ever win if they do in fact win it, which we could argue is going to be very, very difficult. And for Barcelona, this is their only shot at a significant trophy this season, which is really hard to believe. Now, some fun facts about this game. Barcelona lost only 1 game at home all season at the Camp Nou, and it was to Alaves 2-1. Had they won that game, Barcelona would have won that, they would have won the league. That is crazy. Barcelona, though, is going to be without Sergio Roberto due to suspension. They don't really have anybody else at right back to fill in. They're talking about Javier Mascherano and maybe even Andre Gomez, pulling him out of the midfield and putting him at right back. Just to tinker, for me, this is more evidence that they really miss Dani Alves and they should never have let him go. I think he wanted to sign a 3-year deal and they only wanted to give him a 1-year deal. They should have just given him the 3-year deal because that guy's on course to win the treble with Juventus. And that's a different conversation. Also, Luis Suarez is out due to suspension and they don't really have anybody to replace him either. Paco Alcacer is the name that people are throwing out there, but I think this shows the lack of depth that Barcelona has. Okay, so a fun fact about Barcelona, they've won 6 straight games coming into this, and in each game they scored 3 goals or more. So they are on fire. They are on fire.
But Alaves has the 5th best defensive record in La Liga.
Which is surprising, right?
Yeah. And they conceded only 2 goals more than Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy stat. Crazy cool stat, as it were.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Also, another fun fact about Alaves, this is their time in La Liga after a 10-year absence. They finished 9th and they got into their first Copa del Rey final.
I used to be an underdog sort of guy, not anymore. I'm now very cool. But when I was an underdog, I would relate to Alaves and would say, I want them to win. But now I say, Barcelona, score 5 goals. It's lit, fam.
So that's your score prediction?
Yeah.
5-0?
Yeah.
Wow, that's too big. I think this one's gonna be a little bit tighter. I don't know how this can. They got 2 goals in them. Maybe I'll say 3-2 to Barcelona.
Whoa.
And next up, it's the DFB Pokal final between Borussia Dortmund and Eintracht Frankfurt. So this is an interesting one because Bayern Munich is by far the class of the Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund always seems to be clipping at their heels, but can't get over that hump. And now with the addition of RB Leipzig, who want to dance now and actually are taking things quite serious. Not that they weren't taking things quite serious before, but I don't know if anybody was taking them quite serious.
And now they finished second.
They got second. But this isn't about RB Leipzig. It's about Borussia Dortmund, who did very well to get to this point, to get to this final. My favorite name competition, the DFB Pokal. Just feels like there's a lot of connotations, some innuendo there.
Yeah.
The DFB.
What does it mean?
Pokal.
Oh,
yeah.
that's gross.
That's gross, isn't it?
I may be cool, but I'm still a prude.
Like I was saying, Dortmund did very well to get here. They beat Bayern Munich in the semifinals in Munich 3-2. They came back. They were down 2-1 at half, and Ousmane Dembele, their youngster, came out of nowhere, dominated the game. He didn't really come out of nowhere, he's a special player. Had an assist, had a goal, they won 3-2, and they deserve to be in this final. It's their 4th straight final. The previous 3 they lost. So maybe this is the time to do it against an Eintracht Frankfurt team that's been very poor the second half of the season. Started off very well, some high hopes. They couldn't keep it together, but they find themselves in this final. They beat Borussia Mönchengladbach in penalties in the other semifinal, which is unfortunate because it would have been a nice Borussia final. It would have been, you know, and I like saying Mönchengladbach. Once you figure out how to say it, you just want to say it over and over and over. Mönchengladbach, 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 Mönchengladbach. So here's what's interesting about Frankfurt. If they win this game, because they finished in 11th, they had no chance at Europe, they'll get into the Europa League.
That's great.
But if they lose, Freiburg gets in. So any thoughts about this one in particular? You got any cool stats for us? Stat cool guy?
Yeah, Jimmy, I do. Frankfurt lost heading into the last game of their season. They lost 3 games in a row. Like you said, they had a bad second half. But last game of the season, they got their captain Alexander Meyer back, so he's fit, and they drew with Red Bull Leipzig. So they'll be taking at least some confidence in their final game. I want to say 1-1 and then penalties. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen.
To who?
Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Dortmund will win on penalties.
Penalties.
Freiburg will go to the Europa League.
So I kind of feel that it will be a closer game because Dortmund's going to be without Julian Weigl, who's very important to the Borussia Dortmund midfield.
He's a linchpin.
He is. A lot of things move through him. He does a very good job of transitioning the defense to the offense and always making the right pass to unlock defenses as well. I think that's going to make a difference. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but can Dortmund lose 4 of these in a row? Is that I mean, no, I'm going the math. So Dortmund 2, Frankfurt 1. And now let's head to France for the Coup de France final between PSG and Angers. Okay, stat cool guy, the biggest storyline for me in this game is the future of PSG manager Unai Emery, because he's only been there for 1 season, but the pressure is on. I think he has to win this game to get the domestic double. They won the Coup de la Ligue. Coup de la Ligue, doesn't roll off the tongue very well, over Monaco, but that's when Monaco was still in the Champions League semifinals, and they didn't want to roll out their top team because they wanted to rest their top guys, and they rolled like a U17 team. So it doesn't really count. I feel like they have to win this one against an Angers team who haven't been in this final for 60 years. So there's no pressure on them, though they are stout defensively and good on set pieces, which is kind of the stereotypes for the men's national team here in the United States. So I know what that looks like. PSG though, kind of a disappointment, right? Overall for the season, they finished 2nd to Monaco in the league, and they lost to Barcelona in the Champions League. The greatest comeback in the history of the competition. We could argue that he probably should have been fired after that. I know the players are the ones that are on the field and they have to capitulate while they're out there, but there may be some subs that he could have made. There could have been some formational changes that could have been done.
Could have said the right words.
I mean, they could have
said the wrong words.
Oh, clearly said something wrong. So I think for that alone, you have to hold him accountable. But I do like what he's done. I think he's just walked into a situation where the team is in transition. You lose your captain and your stalwart up top, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who was really the heartbeat of the team. You lose David Luiz to Chelsea. You change a few things. You bring in Hatem Ben Arfa, though I don't think it was him that did that. I can't remember if it was or wasn't. So I think you got to give him one more season, no matter how this goes. You have to win this game. Totally. I mean, that you have to win.
It's just like
one.
Barcelona. You know, it's kind of like PSG. They haven't won anything all season, but they've been so used to winning. And I mean, their last 9 games, they have 34 goals. It's kind of like when you go your whole life being a loser geek that everyone makes fun of, and no one likes you, and then you need to just bust out and do something big and be cool and beat Angers.
I will say this too about Unai Emery. I think he's done well with Edinson Cavani. Cavani scored 35 goals in the league this season. That's second to only Messi in the top 5 European leagues. Wow. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing your job right now. Okay, score prediction. Who do you like?
It's gonna be PSG, and they're gonna win by a lot of goals. I'm gonna say 3 goals to 0 goals.
I'm gonna agree with you. Yeah!
Whoa!
Woo! And now we head to Portugal for their cup final between Benfica and Vitoria. Talk about lit, fam. Benfica, who have just won their 4th straight league title, aren't so lit when it comes to the cup competition because they've only won, if they win this one, let me say, if they win this one, it'll be their 3rd cup since the year 2000.
That was 17 years ago.
I mean, yeah, so this would be their, so 3 out of 17, but they've won 4 out of 4 in the league. They're always competing in the Europa League and just Europe in general.
Maybe they don't care about this cup that much.
Well, they clearly don't.
Cups are cool!
Cups are cool, especially big giant ones.
You get to drink milk out of them.
Do you think they drink milk out of them?
I would.
You would do that?
I love milk. Milk's great.
I do almond milk now, because I read a lot of stuff about the hormones that are put in dairy milk.
Oh, is that why my growth is so stunted? Oh no.
Do you have man boobs or boy boobs?
I have cool guy boobs.
Then about Vitoria, a couple fun facts for you. Oh. One, they got more points on the road than they did at home this season, so they should, in theory, be okay with playing in a neutral site for this game, right? It's a one-off competition.
You would think so.
You would think so.
What's your other fun fact?
My other fun fact is the one and only time that Vitoria won this competition, Benfica's current manager, Rui Vitoria, yes, he was in charge of the team. Let's set that aside and just say his name's Rui Vitoria, and he was managing Vitoria. It's like, you can't leave the club and go somewhere else.
No,
you gotta stay there.
It's a classic.
It's like peak
Arsene Wenger, Arsenal. It's classic. Roberto Mancini, Man City. It's like at Red Bull Leipzig, and you have Bobby Red Bull, who's their manager.
Robert Red Bull?
Robert Red Bull.
RB?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, score prediction.
Score prediction for me has been Benfica 2, Vitoria 3.
Whoa!
What?
No, I don't.
What did I say?
I think Benfica is going to win the double. They're the class of the league. They've proven it over and over. I do think it's going to be tight. I'll say 1-1, and Benfica wins in penalties. And now we head south of the border for the second leg of the Liga MX final between Chivas Guadalajara and Tigres. Oh, so I got my prediction wrong because I said that Tigres was going to beat Chivas Guadalajara yesterday, 4-1 over 2 legs, and Chivas scored 2 goals. And then, miraculously, the god of Tigres, that's what I'm calling him now, Andre Pierre-Gignac, scored 2 very good goals with 5 minutes left to tie it 2-2. So that's what they're doing, now going to Chivas, to Guadalajara, to settle this on Sunday. It is gonna be lit. That's
lit, fam.
Lit, fam.
I thought you were wanting me to say a person's name.
No, lit.
It is gonna be lit, fam.
I mean, you have to have some cool stats about this.
Totally. I mean, I have a cool stat that says, for example, the last time Tigres played Chivas at Chivas Guadalajara, they won 1-0.
That's a fun fact for you. It wasn't this season though. I think it was last season, but still. But a lot of the players are the same. I will say though, on the 2 goals, and I actually thought that Chivas played very, very well. Their 2 goals, I thought were mistakes by the Tigres goalkeeper, Guzman.
He just kind of parried it into their path.
Yeah, he parried both of them into, I mean, they still had a lot of work to do to score, to kind of, you know, they had to contort their bodies to hit the back of the net. Alan Pulido scored 1, former Tigres player, so that was probably pretty cool for him, and it's almost 1 year after he got kidnapped. Do you remember that story, when Pulido got kidnapped?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. That's a throwback.
I still feel like, though, my prediction is gonna come true with regard to Tigres winning, even though it's on the road. But I don't know, actually, oh man, now that the score, I don't know, because Chivas haven't won a league title in 10 years.
They're dying.
They won, yeah, they've been dying on the vine. They had a Copa MX, so they won the cup competition. They could win the double. and they're playing at home. Like, that's all you want, is to play a final at home with a chance to be the league champion and the double winner.
Chivas have them right where they want them.
They do.
Which makes it all the more likely that Chivas will find a way to blow it, because that's what Chivas does, right?
That's good. I'm gonna go with that. So Tigres is gonna win this one.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I think it's gonna be like a 3-2 or a 4-3 to Tigres. Andre Pierre Gignac's gonna score a heck of a ton of goals.
Also, here's some other games we'll be keeping our eyes on.
Ow!
You alright? Like the Seattle Sounders versus the Portland Timbers, one of the greatest rivalries in MLS. This should be a good one.
It should be, but I think it's gonna go a certain way. I think Seattle's gonna win it, because Portland haven't won 21 of their last 23 away games.
Also, I would add that Portland haven't won a game in their last 4. So they're gonna have to figure something out, but maybe this is it. Maybe the Sounders are their slump buster, as it were. You like that?
Slump buster, that's cool.
Yeah, you like
Sounds like a vacuum.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe he's gonna suck up all the bad juju and get 3 points.
Is that out? Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that analogy is good.
But Seattle has had a bit of an uneven start to the season. However, they did just beat Real Salt Lake at home last week, so maybe that's the confidence boost that they need to get their slump busted.
Well, we'll find out when they play the soccer game.
Also, we're gonna be watching Roma and Napoli. And no, they're not playing against each other, but they are competing for that second place spot in Serie A, which is automatic qualification to the Champions League. You get third place, you have to go through the qualifying round, and you don't want that to ever happen. I actually was there at Porto versus Roma last season. Porto got by Roma, and just kind of like squashes your whole vibe before the season starts.
You're gonna play a tricky team.
Yeah, so Porto went on to the Champions League group stages, and Roma did not. They had to go to the Europa League, and it just felt like it kind of threw Roma off. They didn't really have that same kind of, I don't know, swagger that you need to have success.
Yeah,
especially if you're trying to
compete off on an L.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to compete with Juventus. You know, to win a league title, you got to be perfect all the way through. So these two teams are playing 2 very important games, which we talked about. Roma's at home against Genoa, and Napoli's on the road against Sampdoria. Now, I think they're both going to win. Sampdoria hasn't won a game in 7. They don't really have anything to play for.
And
Napoli
Genoa, they just confirmed that they were safe last week, so they're on the beach.
They are on the beach. And Francesco Totti's his last ever game in a Roma jersey. I hope that, let's rephrase, that Spalletti gives Totti some minutes here in his last ever game.
I think he definitely will.
But not the bullshit minutes though.
No.
Not like the 2 minute left and the game's already out of reach.
Bring him in like 65.
Let him run around. Let him stretch his legs.
A full half hour.
If he doesn't, then you can just expect on Monday to be a total bitch fest about Luciano Spalletti.
Sounds fun.
You want to come back in?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're cool enough to.
Hey, what if I go to a club this weekend? Would that do it?
Can you film yourself doing that?
Yeah, I like to go there and dance. I do a move called the serious helicopter. It's when you go like this, and then you look really serious, and then you spin your fists around like they're a helicopter.
And finally, let's talk about all the playoff for promotion and relegation to go to the top. Where do you want to start? You want to do England?
Yes.
France?
Yes.
Or Germany?
All 3 of them.
Okay, well, which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Germany, because it's the last one you said.
Okay, so Wolfsburg is taking on Braunschweig, and they already did leg 1. And Wolfsburg is up 1-0 on a penalty by Mario Gomez. Now, it's cool to see Mario Gomez still doing his thing, rocking it for the old guys. I don't know if that's a big enough lead. They have to go to Braunschweig now and I guess they just need a draw.
Yeah, a draw would do.
I mean, that's, you know.
These little relegation promotion playoffs are weird. I feel it favors the big clubs,
right,
you know?
It does. That said, in France, Troyes is up 2-1 over Lorient after leg 1.
Oh.
So maybe that's enough. I don't know. Lorient should do the business at home. They got the all-important road goal.
Yep.
So then maybe that's
all they need is a 1-0.
Troyes scored in the 91st minute, I think, to take that 2-1 lead.
Oh, wow.
That's some momentum.
That's a big goal.
I don't know. How about the championship, though? Reading versus
exciting.
Huddersfield.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have Huddersfield with David Wagner, and this would be the first time they're in the Premier League since I think the 60s. It would be pretty crazy. And on Reading, you have Jaap Stam, who is, of course, a big defender for Manchester United, and I don't know, just a lot of cool little storylines.
I didn't think Jaap Stam would be a good manager.
No.
I just didn't feel like he must just intimidate the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
You will do this. He feels like a robot to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He looks like
sort
a
of
fake person.
Okay, scorelines. You think Troyes is gonna finish over Lorient? You think they're gonna do the business?
Yes, and I think Wolfsburg's gonna win as well, and I think Huddersfield are gonna go up.
I'm going Reading.
Well, now we're fighting. Great. Great.
This is a great way to end the video. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a great weekend. Give it up to Stat Cool Guy.
Oh, I don't want to be that anymore. It's too much pressure.
It is a lot of,
It's hard. It's hard to be cool.
This dog hairs.
And I think what I'm learning is that by trying to be cool, I'm not cool. Be yourself, everybody.